We have risen from the ashes to school the masses. Hello, everyone. Welcome to another edition of the Scholars Wrestling Show, episode 374. I'm your man behind the microphone, Scholar Jeff. Joining us this week is the one and only Scholars of Wrestling World Heavyweight Champion, one and only Mr. Scholar Brian. Scholar Brian, welcome back, sir.
Thank you. Little bit of recuperation, little bit of getting my mental straight, and now it's what a time to return for the greatest pay-per-view card that I think AEW has ever put together.
Big praise. Also joining us this week is the Scholars of Wrestling Party Champion, Scholar Charlie. Scholar Charlie, how are you doing this evening, sir?
It's Friday night and I feel all right. Going into this Sunday's AEW event, I feel not too confident, but we'll see how things go.
And also joining us this week, your friend and ours, the one and only Mr. Jeremy Bird. Jay Bird, how you doing tonight?
I'm doing good. After the news broke that Cody is not going back to WWE, it makes me super happy. So I'm stoked about that.
Oh yeah, I don't want to say I called it, but
I was so happy.
I had to believe it. I would not believe it until I saw it. But hey, I'm sure we'll cover every single little step of that story as it goes on.
And
yes,
there
sir.
was another minor thing. Austin is releasing a new beer, so I'm happy. For
yes,
that too.
I believe it's a lager.
It's the American Lager. It's going to be released on 3/16. I'm just going to wait for it to shift to the East Coast, and I'll pick it up. I'm not paying for shipping; it's too expensive. But
I didn't even pick up on that.
Yeah,
no, it's like it's getting shipped on 3/16. Isn't that also St. Patrick's Day?
Day before.
Oh, okay. St. Patrick's Day the 17th. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, but you can actually get it at the El Segundo Brewery Brewhouse on 3/16 if you want it. But I'm not in California, so I got to wait till it comes to the East Coast. Mm-hmm. We'll see how it is. We'll have to do a scholars tasting on that one night.
Oh heck yeah! Break out the cameras. We'll do it.
Cheers.
Yeah.
But yes, until we get to all that fun stuff, we have to deal with the imminent fun, which is AEW Revolution 2022. It's a big card. It's a stacked card, just the way I like it. So let's just dive right in, shall we? This is AEW Revolution 2022, starting with two pre-show matches. The first one, we've got the Notorious Hook versus QT Marshall. Brian, you are Marshall, tomato, potato, whatever. Scholar Brian, you're the defending champ. We're pitching over to you. Who do you got between Hook and QT Marshall?
If we're not at a consensus on this one, then I don't know. I don't know what's going on. There is no reason that QT Marshall. Fuck Marshall. It's Marshall. Okay. There's no way that dude should be Hook's first loss. Hook wins pretty easily too.
I still remember the last AEW show I went to. There was a chant of "We're all hookers" from the crowd.
Yes,
and apparently
yes,
apparently so am I. So I am going with Hook as well. Charlie, do we want to make it official?
Send in Hook. And
Jay Bird, will Hook be sent?
Can you feel that? We got Hook. We got Hook. No way. If Hook loses in AEW, you're wrong. But QT Marshall, no way. It's going to be someone big, like Brian said. And I'm excited for his first pay-per-view debut. It's going to be good, and the fans are going to go insane. So let's send Hook, and let's send that factory punk back to the developmentals. So
and it's also really smart because you're going to have people actually tune into the pre-show because of the fact that they're hookers.
It's fucking Hook. That's all it is. It's fucking Hook.
Exactly. So it's like you don't need any extras like you did for previous buy-ins. Okay. You don't need the battle royals or anything like that. It's just you put Hook on the buy-in, and people are gonna tune in early. Smart business.
What was that? What was that, Charlie? I didn't hear you.
I said all the hookers will be watching the pre-show.
Yes, I will.
Damn straight.
And you know what? I'm not even going to go there. I'm just going to segue over to the next match, which is on the pre-show. We've got Layla Hirsch versus Chris Statlander for some reason. For this one, I think this could conceivably go either way, but I'm going to go with Layla Hirsch here just because it seems like they're positioning Chris Statlander as a heel for some reason. Not sure why, but again, this didn't exactly have the most build, so I'm not going to question too much. I'm going to go with Layla Hirsch. Charlie, it's your pick next. Who you got between Layla Hirsch or Chris Statlander?
I don't know Layla Hirsch much, so I went with Chris Statlander on this one.
All right. Jaybird, who you got between Layla Hirsch and Chris Statlander?
I actually know that the whole story is they were in a 6-woman tag match, and basically Layla and Chris Statlander have been going at it for months. They've been been arguing, fighting. They had Red Velvet involved in it as well, but they already faced each other on Dynamite a couple weeks ago like a month or so ago to squash the issue, and Statlander already beat Hirsch once. So I think Hirsch needs a win on this one, so I'm going to go with legit Layla Hirsch. As much as I love Statlander and the Best Friends, I think Layla needs a win for this pay-per-view.
Yeah, I totally forgot about that angle. Brian, what do you make?
I watch, so.
Yeah, I actually forgot about that. You got me there. Brian, who do you got between Layla and Chris Statlander?
Yeah, it's one of those things where it's this is a hard one to pick, but you know, Chris Statlander made fun of Layla Hirsch for being an orphan. So I believe that Layla Hirsch needs to get some of her own back, if you will, because it's like I wouldn't have someone make fun of someone being an orphan and not have the person who made fun of her get her ass beat.
I did forget about that.
And I feel like this is like positioning for the next like TBS title challenger. So if you're setting up Chris Statlander to be the heel, and like you're gonna, it's hard though, because Chris Statlander said in promos like I'm gonna pull out stuff you've never seen before. You've never seen. What you're gonna see at this show is something you've never seen from me before. So it's like, but I tend to agree with Jeremy on this one. Chris Statlander has beaten Layla Hirsch on TV, so as much as I don't like 50-50 booking, this is 50-50 booking that makes sense. So I'm going to go with Layla Hirsch.
And she made her tap, so she's doubly pissed at that situation too.
All right. More lore there than I expected. I dig it. Moving on to our next match. First match on the main card, actually. We've got Jade Cargill versus Ty Conti defending the TNT Championship. Charlie, it's your pick first. Who do you got?
Jade Cargill's going to remain undefeated.
All right.
In the title.
All right. Jaybird, who do you got between Ty Conti and Jade Cargill?
As much as I love Ty Conti, Jade Cargill is still going to remain undefeated. It's just the question I've been asking for months is who's going to beat her. That's the big question. But it's going to be Jade Cargill retaining.
All right. And Brian, who do you got?
Yeah, Ty Conti has improved leaps and bounds from when she was in NXT. But you know what? Jade Cargill has the potential to be a bigger star than anyone in that women's division when she actually reaches her full potential. just through presence alone. So as much as I love Conti, it's not time yet, not even close. So Jade Cargill to retain here.
I'll tell you what, let's make it a consensus. I too am going with Jade Cargill because I like muscle mommies. Next match, we've got a trios match. We've got Andrade El Idolo, Matt Hardy, and Isaiah Cassidy versus Sammy Guevara, Sting, and Darby Allin. Jaybird, it's your pick first. Who do you got?
Okay, I'll give you more lore, Jeff. So in watching this, Matt Hardy has been very pissed with his staff. Isaiah keeps losing matches. Private Party, like the AHFO, make the naming longer, and I'm going to have a hard time. They've not had a good couple of weeks, and they've just been building towards Matt Hardy is going to actually. Here's what I'm thinking. So he got pissed at Isaiah Cassidy when he lost a couple of weeks ago, and he walked out on him. I'm thinking we're going to have Darby, Sting, and Sammy win. Isaiah's going to take the pin, and Matt's going to be like, I'm done with it. I'm done with Private Party. You're both gone. So he's going to fire them both out of the AHFO. So we got the good guys winning over, I wish the bad guys, but it's going to be Sting, Darby, and Sammy winning, and Isaiah is going to get fired along with Mark Quinn from Private Party.
Okay, and sorry to interrupt, but apparently we got excuse me, on Rampage, we just got someone running in. It looks like we got Eric Redbeard, formerly
Really?
Eric Rowan, just running in, doing something with the House of Black.
Oh shit.
You gotta
Yeah.
be turning now, Jeff.
Yeah, and I'm hearing my wife just celebrating in the other room.
I heard the cheering. I'm like, what happened?
You
I don't
heard
have the
that?
I heard of. I don't have the TV on, but I was.
Oh,
holy-
boy.
Ooh
Yeah.
shit.
Well, if there's one group that Eric Redbeard should be doing business with, it's the House of Black.
So if it wasn't the Dark Order, it's gotta be House of Black, and he is crushing it right now.
And you know
Yep.
what that means? We get a little Redbeard, and we get a little Fiend eventually. So
Oh, one can only hope. One
it
can
will.
only hope.
It will happen, Jeff. I will.
Oh boy, I dig it. It looks like we got setting up for a trios match here. This is tremendous. I love it. But anyway, back to the point.
Yeah. So
Yes,
I my pick. So who's up next?
You're going for teams. Let's just call them Team Sammy and Team Andrade.
That's easier. Let's go with that.
Yeah, we got Team Sammy for you. Brian, who do you got? Team Sammy or Team Andrade?
I'm gonna go a little bit different. I'm picking Team Sammy as well, but I don't think that Matt Hardy's going to fire Private Party. I think Matt Hardy's gonna quit and walk out on everybody.
Really?
And then in a couple weeks, they're gonna bring in Jeff Hardy, and they're gonna reform the Hardy Boys, and Andrade is gonna take over as the leader of whatever the name of
the AFO.
Yeah,
There you go.
he's gonna take over as the leader of the AFO, and Matt Hardy's just gonna drop him.
Interesting, Brian. I like it. I could see it.
Yeah, but I'm not even I'm not even convinced that Isaiah Cassidy takes the pin. I'm thinking maybe Matt Hardy takes the pin and Isaiah Cassidy attacks at the end of the match.
I like the swerve. I like it.
So either way, Team Sammy wins. It's just that we have differences in what's gonna happen afterwards.
Oh shit, that is Redbeard. Sorry, I just got my TV on.
Yes, and I'm just to keep this ball rolling. We'll get to that in just a second. But I am also going to go with Team Sammy. This is going to be an excellent match, although it's probably going to be one of the more predictable ones. But again, predictable is not always bad. Charlie, it's your pick next. Do we have a accord or a consensus?
Yes, we do. Team Sammy wins.
All right. And on that delightful note, it was just announced as we're recording this that there is going to be yet another buy-in match.
Oh, what do we
Just
got?
announced. It's a trios match. We've got the House of Black versus Pentagon. We got versus Pentagon and Pac and Eric Redbeard.
Oh, I thought it was gonna be Death Triangle, but that's good. Now we get add another
semi
one.
Death Triangle, yeah. So let's just bang this one out right now. Brian, it's your pick. Who do you got?
God damn it. Of course. You know what? As I love Eric Redbeard debuting, the House of Black need a win here. Pac and Pentagon beat them before Buddy Matthews came out. House of Black needs a win. They've been losing a little bit recently, so as much as Eric Redbeard debuting pops the shit out of me, I need the House of Black to win this one.
Yeah, I'm inclined to agree, although I feel like this one has a lot more potential to go either way than the last trios match we were just talking about. Oh boy. I'll tell you what, I'm gonna go House of Black. I think you're right. The evidence is just enough to sway my opinion, although I wouldn't be surprised if it went either way. But as for this prediction, I'm gonna go House of Black. Charlie, who do you got?
As Brian would call it, I have a really bad case of WWE brain right now, thinking that a face faction would have to win the buy-in show. But I'm going to go with you guys. And since this is an AEW show, I'll take your lead and go with House of Black.
And Jeremy, do we have a consensus?
I would love to see the face team win, and then maybe we have a Bray Wyatt appear. But I'm gonna go with what my wife would say because she's a huge House of Black fan. The house always wins, so let's go House of Black.
All right. Now that we've got that out of the way, let's move on to a triple threat tag match. Yes, Charlie.
I said, what is that? 12 matches now?
Mm-hmm.
It is 12 matches. It's gonna be a big night of wrestling, Holmes.
Gotta be a long night.
I'll order extra pizza. It'll be great. Anyway, we got a triple threat tag match for the tag team titles. We got Jurassic Express versus Red Dragon versus the Young Bucks. For this one, I'm going to go with Jurassic Express. As big as these contenders are, I think they could still take it. I think the timing is just a little bit off. I feel like the tag titles especially have gotten a lot more weight and substance to them that I don't think they're going to be just switching off willy-nilly like that, but I have been wrong before. So Jurassic Express for me. Charlie, who do you got?
As much as I love Red Dragon, I'm going to go with Jurassic Express on this one. Retain.
All right. And Jaybird, who you got? Jurassic Express, Red Dragon, or the Young Bucks?
This kills me. Like, there are multiple matches on this card that just kill me because I have my crackpot theories of what could happen, but it's not going to happen because it's AEW. But I'm going to have to think I hope Brian's going to think the way I'm thinking, but I would love to see Red Dragon win, but I'm going to have to go with Jurassic Express. But if Red Dragon wins, I'm calling this by the end of the pay-per-view. If they win, I'm calling that. But I'm going Jurassic Express.
Which is why I'm not calling that.
Ooh, he's going to be the contrarian.
No. I'm not calling Red Dragon because it's like I know that the main event is not going to be that. So it's like it's one of those look, the reason that the Young Bucks are in this match as well as Red Dragon is they're setting up to further the tension in the elite. Okay, they're waiting to make it all go to hell until Kenny Omega comes back, but they're furthering the tension in between the two sides of the group. So they're gonna cancel each other out by the end of this thing, and Jungle Boy's gonna come in and steal a pin. That's what I think's gonna happen. As much as I would love for Red Dragon to win the tag team titles, it's just like based off of the story going into it and what I feel they have planned afterwards, it makes no sense for them to be the champions at this point. So Jurassic Express to retain.
I agree, Brian. It's just as much as I want to see Undisputed Era return, not going to happen.
All right. Next match we've got Jon Moxley versus Bryan Danielson. And the first pick goes to Charlie. Who do you got between Jon Moxley and Bryan Danielson?
Come on, man.
The order is the order. What can I say?
I know. We had to throw in that screwball of the recently added pick, making me go first on this one. Mox.
All right, we got one for Moxley. Jay Bird, you got next. Who do you got?
This is one of the tough matches because as much the problem is Bryan Danielson's pay-per-view debut. That's what is throwing me off. It's his pay-per-view debut. I'm just gonna go with my gut. I'm gonna go Moxley. Even though it's debut, I'm going with Mox. I have to. They're gonna bleed together and then they're gonna team up together.
All right. Brian, it's your pick next. Who do you got?
This is what makes me so mad about how Bryan Danielson came in and his first two big matches were draws against Omega and against Hangman. Because if any match deserved to be a draw, it would be based on the storyline that they're doing right now. Okay, it would be this one. It would be like, okay, they beat the shit out of each other for 25 minutes and then they just stop. And then they're like, you know what? Shake hands, we're gonna do this. But here's the deal. If they're gonna have a definitive winner in this one, if Bryan Danielson wins, it's got to be through cheap means, and then we're not gonna get the tag team, we're not gonna get the faction, and I want the tag team and the faction. So at this point, just for how I want the storyline to go, okay, it's gonna come down to the wire. It's gonna be like a 28-minute match. They could be counting down to the draw, and then Jon Moxley either hits him with the paradigm shift, or he chokes him out with that with that rear naked choke that he was doing before he went to
the bulldog choke.
The bulldog choke that he was doing before he went to rehab, and that's another reason that I'm picking Moxley. Where it might be Bryan Danielson's pay-per-view debut, but Jon Moxley just went through some major shit, and this is like he's had matches, but like this is his big return match. So either have it be a draw, and they come out and shake hands before afterwards and just say we're gonna team up, or have Moxley choke him out. And I'm gonna go with Moxley choking him out. Mox wins.
All right. I see what you're saying. And I'm actually a little surprised by this. I'm gonna go Bryan Danielson.
I wasn't
I think
surprised.
this one's gonna be a little bit more straightforward. And if the end goal is to form this sort of super group or this alliance, tag team, whatever you want to call it, if Bryan Danielson is actually going to spearhead the charge here, whatever you want to call it, I've got to believe he's got to win this match. Otherwise, why on earth would someone like Jon Moxley end up following him anywhere? So in that case alone, I'm going. It just seems too simple not to go with in my eyes. So I'm going to go with Bryan Danielson.
Because my whole thought process on the whole thing is that Bryan Danielson isn't, even though he asked to team with Jon Moxley, he wouldn't be the figurehead of the group. He would it would be quid pro quo. So it's one of those, and Jon Moxley is heavily interested in doing it.
Oh yeah.
He's heavily interested in doing it. He just needs to bleed with me first.
Yep.
So it's like, in that case, in my eyes, it really doesn't matter who wins. It's just like, I see if Bryan Danielson wins, he does it in a cheap manner, and that would ruin any respect that Jon Moxley has for the guy. So then they wouldn't team. So then Jon Moxley wouldn't want to team up with him anymore, and that ruins my entire idea of the storyline.
All right. Next match on the card, we've got another grudge match. We've got Chris Jericho versus Eddie Kingston. Jeremy, it's your pick first. Who do you got?
This is why I hate pay-per-views, because they're so tough. But I've been saying it all year, and I'm still sticking to my guns. Jericho, you did a good build-up. You did a good setup for everything, but I got to go with Eddie. Eddie needs a win. Eddie needs to earn Jericho's respect and win the big one at this pay-per-view, because Jericho's done it all. He can win every pay-per-view he wants, but I think it's just time to give Eddie that big push and start moving him forward, because he's hit a rough patch. He hasn't done much in the last couple of months, and I'm like, and if you look at his pay-per-view record, it's not good. So good. We got to give King.
I don't think he's won a pay-per-view match.
No, he hasn't, which is driving me crazy. That's what I'm saying. I'm thinking this is the one. Let's give Kingston the win, and let's friggin' have a good night. So let Kingston earn respect. Let him beat Jericho with that backhand, whatever it's called.
Back fist to the future.
There it is. Thank you.
Yeah. I feel like this is actually a throwback to when Chris Jericho and The Rock were going at it in WWE.
That's what I was thinking too.
And the whole thing was Chris Jericho couldn't win the big one. And then Chris Jericho did win the big one. So I feel like this is, I feel like I agree with Jay Bird on this one. I think it's time. I think Eddie Kingston, it's time for him to win the big one.
Hell yeah.
That makes three of us. I've been a big Eddie Kingston fan since day one, but this is one of the few must wins on the card in my eyes. That, Eddie's had it coming for a long time, and this is going to be it. And I really don't see any reason why not. So yeah, that's a third for Eddie Kingston. Charlie, do we have an accord?
Yes, we do. Eddie Kingston wins this one.
All right. Now bring us back to the top of the order with Brian, and our next match. We've got the Face of the Revolution ladder match. Let's bring up a list of the participants real quick. We got Keith Lee, Orange Cassidy, Powerhouse Hobbs, Ricky Starks, Wardlow, and we're recording this as of the day that now. Yeah, we're watching it now, so it could be either Christian Cage or Ethan Page. Brian, it's your pick. Who do you got winning the Face of the Revolution ladder match?
Okay, it really comes down to two people for me, and it's between Keith Lee and Wardlow. But in my eyes, I think they've been setting up a feud between Hobbs, Starks, and Keith Lee So I think they're gonna do something there to put Keith Lee out of the match and allow it's. They've been teasing me for too long. Okay, it's time to start the breakup between Wardlow and MJF, and I think him winning this ladder match will start it. I will actually start it. I'm going with Wardlow to win this thing.
I am going with Keith Lee on this one just because he is a big, handsome man. And I love him. Charlie, who do you got?
I know nothing of most of the individuals in this match. In fact, I went with Ricky Starks on your game. I don't know. I'm thinking about what you two said and what Brian said in particular. If we're gonna see the MJF Wardlow breakup, this is a good way to start it. I think I'm gonna switch my pick to Wardlow. Very
interesting. And Jaybird, who are you going with in the Face of the Revolution ladder match?
All right. I don't like to agree with Brian, but watching AEW as long as I have, and after the fact that MJF slapped Wardlow across the face on Dynamite this week, the cogs are set in motion. The timing is right. I'm calling it now. Wardlow is going to win the Face of the Revolution ladder match. He's going to win the TNT title. And then when MJF takes the belt from him, that's when Wardlow is just going to literally go through the entire Pinnacle just to get his belt back. That's what he's going to do. He's going to literally snap. He's going to beat up Shawn Spears. He's going to beat up FTR. He's going to freaking break MJF in half, and he's going to take that belt back because he deserves it. Like, my wife and I have been watching Wardlow for months, and she's like, oh, he's 3 seconds. He's a 5-second guy. And then he's been growing on her since, but I want to see him win that belt because he's been improving so much since he started, and he deserves it. So let's give him that. Give him the Face of the Revolution ladder match and let him get that TNT title. And then break up him and MJF. That's what I want to see.
Very interesting. Very interesting indeed.
I want a Wardlow shirt, but until he wins that belt, I'm not getting that shirt.
All right. Next up, we've got for the AEW Women's Championship, we've got Britt Baker, DMD, and Thunder Rosa. My pick first, I'll flat out, I'm just going to go with Thunder Rosa on this just because I love Thunder Rosa and she's great. And like CM Punk once said, her being billed from the graveyards of Tijuana is just plain damn cool. So Thunder Rosa for the win. Charlie, it's your pick next. Who do you got?
I'm thinking it might seem like too long for Britt Baker to retain, but forget that. Britt Baker retains.
I'm not saying Britt Baker retains, but Britt Baker retains. Jaybird, it's your pick next. Who do you got?
The time is now. The time is the hour. We got a title change. Thunder Rosa is going to take that belt off of her because after they had my second match of the year, which was that Lights Out match last year. What was that on? That was in March of last year, like around St. Patrick's Day, I think it was.
So it seems like that's a accurate enough figure.
And it's a year since she beat her. And what's like, I can tell she's going to win, but the fact that she pinned Britt Baker on Dynamite on Wednesday just threw me off. I'm like, you don't see that often where the champ gets pinned on the TV show and then she's going to lose the pay-per-view. So it's different, but I'm looking forward to seeing Thunder Rosa win at Revolution. So let's go with her.
All right. And that brings it back to you, Brian. Who do you got?
Yeah, in my eyes, the women's title and the heavyweight title have kind of gone one and the same.
Holy shit.
Whereas
Sheeta. Sorry.
Yeah, Hikaru Shida just came back.
But she's supposed to be in Japan. Holy shit. I'm sorry. Anyway, continue, Brian. I'm sorry.
It's
Holy Sheeta. Anyway.
But they've gone on a similar track where when the next person wins the title, it's a logical process through, and the only person who has been built up enough that they can actually beat Britt Baker at this point is Thunder Rosa. And as evidenced by Kenny Omega and Hangman Page, when the iron's hot, you strike it.
Damn straight.
And it's one of those, she pinned Britt Baker on Dynamite, but get out of my head, WWE brain. Get out of there. It's all right. It just makes logical sense to me for Thunder Rosa to be your next AEW Women's Champion. So let's make it happen. That's it.
All right. Next match, our penultimate match, and my early pick for what it should be a match of the night, CM Punk MJF dog collar match. And Charlie, it's your pick first. What's happening, sir?
This one I'm confident in going first. CM Punk wins. It's going to be a bloodbath. It's going to be brutal. It's going to be all of the above.
All right. I was honestly expecting a little bit more conflict there, but hey, could be shaping up differently than I thought. Jaybird, it's your pick next. Who do you got?
We got to go 2 for 2. After that shit he pulled on friggin' Wednesday, we got the best in the world getting his revenge. But oh my God, that was this story has been probably my favorite feud of the year by far. How well it has been done.
Easy.
Like, oh my God, it was so good. Like the magnum opus a couple weeks ago, and then friggin' the hug, and then just the nut shot. I was like, my wife was sitting next to me. She's watching. She's like, oh my God, he's finally changing. And he takes one step back, and I'm like, there it is, you snake in the grass. I saw it coming, but beautifully done. And it's just gonna be bittersweet when Punk beats him on Sunday. So let's go best in the world to win the dog collar match. Piper in Portland, Punk in Orlando. Let's do it.
All right, Brian, it's your pick next. Who do you got between Punk and MJF?
Yeah, look, there's no conflict here because MJF already has his win over CM Punk. He's already gotten over on him like 3 times. And so it's just one of those. It's the same thing as when it was Jericho versus MJF. And MJF gets one over on him multiple times in the buildup, and CM Punk and CM Punk gets the big win at the pay-per-view to kill off the feud. MJF loses nothing losing here because holy shit, as Jaybird said, the build up to this feud. Okay, MJF. You'll never be able to turn this guy babyface. You can't do it.
He's the. Go ahead, sorry.
There's no possible way to do it, and he can lose every pay-per-view he's on. He shouldn't, but he could lose every pay-per-view he's on, and then he cuts a promo the next show, and everything's back and everything's fine again. So it's like, yeah, he's gotten so many over on CM Punk at this point that there's no way that CM Punk can lose this match. So CM Punk wins the dog collar match. But once again, okay, MJF is the fastest rising star in this company. And I would say by full gear, he's going to be the champion. So
I'll tell you what. I'm a little surprised here. I thought this was gonna be a lot more tough to call, but I'll tell you what, I feel like I'm gonna disagree. I'm gonna say MJF is not the biggest rising star for the only reason that he's already there. He's already in the upper echelon of everything that AEW and wrestling, period. So much so that I still think this can go either way, but I'm still going to go with CM Punk on this. However, I will say that if MJF does, for whatever reason, end up winning this match, then then in my eyes, he's going to be a surefire lock for becoming AEW champion within the year.
I will agree with you with that, Jeff. If by some chance, if MJF does win, I'm not going to be mad because like he's like the best heel of the last 20 years. I'm sorry. Take every heel and just, I'm like, sorry, here's MJF. Shut your mouth. Couldn't stand him at first, but he grew on me real friggin' fast and just, I will be like, here he is. Your argument is invalid.
He's too good.
He
Full
is.
stop. Too good.
Holy shit. He is.
And with that, it brings us to our final match for the AEW World Championship. We've got Adam Page versus Adam Cole, Bebe. Jeremy, it's your pick. Last pick of the night. Who do you got?
As much, like I said earlier, I want to see Red Dragon and I want to see Adam Cole win and bring Undisputed Era to AEW. Now, the champ's too hot and it breaks my heart to say it, but I'm going to go with the other Adam. I'm going to go with Hangman Adam Page. We're going to see some cowboy shit on Sunday. And it breaks my heart so hard to say that because I'm such a diehard Adam Cole fan. And it just breaks my heart to say that. But it is what it is.
Hey, that's what happens when you're a big fish in a big pond. It can go either way.
Exactly.
Brian, it's over to you. Who do you got?
It doesn't break my heart to say this at all. Hangman Page wins. Does all the cowboy shit. Look,
Fuck you too, Brian.
Look, Adam Cole just got here. He's been there for 6 months now?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's been here for 6 months. You've had one pay-per-view match, maybe, and as much as I loved Adam Cole in NXT, it's not your job to come in and derail the success that is Hangman Page. So you're gonna have your time, guy. It's just not tonight. That's it.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Hangman
totally
Page
agreed.
Yeah.
Excuse me. Yeah, Hangman Page is definitely going to take this one, not only because Adam Cole is like Teflon now. He's been doing great work ever since he arrived, even long before he arrived. But as far as this goes, Hangman Page has been absolutely been stepping up his game ever since he won that title. He is coming to play. And I can't deny him that just yet. When he loses the championship, rather, it's going to be in a much grander fashion to someone big. Maybe it'll be MJF, maybe it'll be someone else, but all I know for sure is that Hangman Page is going to retain the title. Charlie, last pick of the night. Who do you got?
Indeed, he is. Cowboy shit for all. Adam Page.
Beautifully said, Charlie. Beautifully said.
Hangman shit for all. I dig it. and we all will dig it. And with that, those are our predictions for AEW Revolution. A stacked card, 12 big matches. Now this feels like the show of shows for this time of year. And I'm hyped up just thinking about it. But now is the time of the show where we're going to pitch it back over to you, our fellow fans. Which match are you looking forward to the most out of for Revolution? Who's going to walk away with the championship? Let us know all across the internet, Facebook posts, YouTube comments, and our personal favorite, the Twitter machines. You can start following us at ScholarsOW for all the latest episode uploads every single week. And you can also check us out, our personal Twitter accounts, and join the conversation there. Scholar Brian, where can they reach you?
You can reach me at Atomic Beanpole.
And Charlie, where can they reach you?
You can find me saying goodbye and good night to my party championship at Charlene.
And Jaybird, where can they reach you?
You can find me drinking a Broken Skull IPA on 316 at Hero Huey 316.
And you can follow me when the next Stone Cold Steve Austin beers come out for the inevitable review at I'm Robbie Rage. Join in the conversation. It's going to be a great night. But you already knew that because you know who we are. We're the Scholars of Wrestling, and you have just been schooled. You're welcome.
You're welcome.
See you all at Revolution.
Hell yeah.